Hello YouTube user Thinking Ideas. This is Kwanyan81, and I enjoyed watching all of your videos, but your most recent video about vegetarianism, as a vegetarian, I'm afraid I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with some of your statements. As you stated, you may not blatantly agree with the practice of how factory farms run themselves or how slaughterhouses work, but from many people's perspective, including mine personally, if you are paying money into this system through the grocery store, through the butcher shop, then you are financially supporting this practice. Say, for the sake of example, you have a favorite clothing designer. Think of someone that you're particularly fond of, or a label that you like to wear. Now, if sometime in the not-so-distant future it's discovered that they exploit child labor and make their products in sweatshops, either domestically or overseas, it would probably get under your skin, and most people I know wouldn't purchase their products anymore. Why? Because they don't want to use their money to support that system. Most people would not enjoy actually torturing or killing a defenseless animal that never did anything to them. Yet, by giving money to factory farms and mass meat industry, that's exactly what they are doing, and they're paying someone else to do it. By using your hard-earned money, or someone else's hard-earned money, you are giving finances to people who torture and kill defenseless animals who never did anything to them. Now, there is a common argument out there that since we have what are called canine teeth, that man was therefore designed to eat meat. Not necessarily. Many omnivorous species, including monkeys, have been seen using their canine teeth to peel the skin off of fruits and vegetables like oranges, mangoes, and, well, what have you. Why? Because they're sharp, but not quite sharp enough to bite straight through the flesh of another living thing, but just sharp enough to bite through the flesh of a passion fruit. And yes, I know full well that monkeys eat other living things too, but they hold it and break it apart and peel it apart and whatnot first. And yes, I know that fossil records of early man have shown arrowheads, spearheads, and other hunting tools as well. But we're in a quote-unquote enlightened age where we have the ability and the alternatives not to repeat this cycle. We have the ability to choose to go beyond torturing and murdering creatures that never did anything to us. So the way I see it, why aren't more people doing it? Why aren't more people going vegetarian? I mean, if they know that killing defenseless animals is disgusting and cruel and supports a system of greed and pollution, why continue to do it? It doesn't make any sense to me. One more side note on the issue of factory farming and the mass meat industry is the United Nations came out with a startling report a few years back as to how much pollution that factory farms really produce. I mean, think about it. All the cows, chickens, turkeys, or pigs, or what have you, cramped in a tiny little space, have to constantly keep being cleaned, have to use electricity, have to be washed down. Do you have any idea how much water that wastes? And all the animal poop and animal blood and entrails, all those germs, all those enzymes, all that bacteria and filth goes where? Straight into the ground, straight into the water supply, and sometimes right in the air. Of all the clever little go green suggestions that you hear about on the news and the internet, like changing what you drive and changing what kind of light bulbs you use and how much electricity you use, the hardest green solution I think people are going to have a time adapting to is not eating meat anymore. Because what you eat, well, the old adage is true to a point. You are what you eat. And people are very resistant to the idea of giving up something that they enjoy. I mean, just look how many people have a hard time giving up smoking. Not that I'm implying that eating meat is addictive in a physical or chemical sense, but, you know, there are people who take their barbecue very seriously, and if they feel threatened that they can't have their barbecues anymore, of course they're going to resist. Last but by no means least, my biggest objection to the idea of consuming dead animal flesh is what I perceive to be an enormous element of hypocrisy as to what is and is not okay to be eaten. Most people wouldn't think anything strange of a farmer who decides to cut the head off of one of his chickens or turkeys and eats it. But if you saw him do this to his cat, you'd call the police. Why? It's just another animal. I mean, if you have no problem going into the woods and shooting Bambi's mother, skinning it and eating it, then you should have no problem snapping your own dog's neck and barbecuing. I mean, to me that just seems hypocritical. Why is it okay to eat some animals and not others, you know? And don't hand me that tired old line that, well, some animals are meant to be food, like cows are stupid and don't move. And I'm like, well, there are so many other species that are related to cows that live in the wild, and while they exist as food for other animals, you don't really see humans farming wildebeest, do you? No, you don't. But, you know, again, all of this is strictly from my perspective. But hey, then again, what the hell do I know? I'm just a fat, lazy, stupid, burger-chowing American.